What's going on, guys? I just wanted to try to touch base with you guys and give you some practical information, especially the ladies, as it relates to a relationship. I know a lot of you have, probably run up into against the wall of being very aggressive or being accused of being a very, very aggressive in terms of what it is that you want, which, listen, it is what it is. That depends on the guy on the other side, but one of the things that I've learned in over 20 years of sales is you can get what you want without coming across as aggressive. My mom used to always say, you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, which is obviously another way of just to say you can get what you want by being nice without being, nasty to get what it is that you want. And ultimately, the reason why you want to choose that approach, especially in a relationship, is you don't want to win kind of the argument, but then have to pay for it after the argument. The reality of the situation is if you love this person, you don't want to beat this person down in order to get what it is that you want. That's not beneficial for the relationship as a whole. So what sales has taught me is that I've had situations where I've gone into people's houses where they've literally cursed me out. But by me keeping myself calm, going through a rational process, explaining things in a certain manner, they've cursed me out in the beginning, and then I've walked out of people's houses with $100,000. And so the point of the matter is for ladies, who have this aggressive approach, ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to get something. And what I'm trying to explain to you is if you can still go after the getting something, but what you want to do is you want to change your approach to how you're trying to get something. Because the reality of the situation is, if I'm being honest with you guys, my wife knows that because of how she treats me, she can get anything she wants out of me. But what she also knows is that if she comes at me in a certain manner, in a more aggressive manner, then it's probably going to be met with aggression. As a man, my masculinity at that point will come out. And, there's only two ways that I would say, if a man cares for you, that it's going to come out. The first way is going to be kind of through aggression and through, whether it's screaming. I mean, I'm not really a yeller, but, coming back and kind of this here, back and forth, which I'm not really sure that leads to much of anything for the relationship. If anything, you have too much of that over time, it starts to, you get cracks in the armor, so to speak, until eventually those small cracks become faults and everything falls apart. But what I would say is even when you have this, at least you have two people who kind of still care. I can tell you guys that the second way of responding is probably a worse way, which is to especially as a man, who, most men don't talk a lot in the first place. But if you ever get to a point where a man just shuts down and, doesn't say anything, what's happened at that point is the man has just made the calculation in his mind that it's worthless to keep speaking with you because it's not going to get through to you anyway. And the reason why that's dangerous, especially if you love that man or care for him, is what will happen is all of the relationships that the man kind of shut down and wasn't willing to listen to, whether it's at work, whether it's, at the gym or whatever the case may be. Once a man shuts down like that, all of those other relationships open up, meaning, where they weren't willing to have a conversation that, got a little bit funny at work, where if they shut down with you at home, they're probably now going to be more open to having those conversations at work. They're probably going to be more open to having those conversations if they're in the gym. So what I would tell you guys to do is not to calm down your aggression and in terms of what you want out of life. I would tell a lot of you guys to change your approach to getting what you want out of life. If you are a very aggressive person with your emotions, if you're yelling, things of that nature, that has to calm down. And you can still go after getting what it is that you want, but just in a manner that respects the other person, respects yourself, and allows you to move forward and not make it seem as though you're beating the other person to get what it is that you want. So go to Barnes and Nobles, go to the sales section, pick up any book on sales, and just read it and just learn the techniques about how to get the things that you want, how to sell. Everything in life is a sale. You know, I tell this to my daughter, if you want a boyfriend, the bottom line is you have to sell a boy on why he should choose you. If you're a boy or a guy and you want a girl to go out with you, you have to sell them on why it is that you want them to choose you. You know, even when you're in a relationship, you know, it's a constant, job. You know, my wife is looking at me, not to make sure that she had the best man or whatever, but, she wants to know that she chose right. I look at my wife and every day I'm reminded that I did choose right. So you just want to make sure that, this is the process, and that you have a process for taking care of, issues. So once again, what I'll say is love you guys. And as always, stay positive.